What did I just watch? What up, lads? My name is John. This is Across the Board. And we got to recap WrestleMania 36, Part 1. It's a weird one. So let's get to the show. First match is a pre-show match between Cesaro and Drew Gulak. Very short match. Really, all that's there to say is that Cesaro did a sweet spinning airplane, no hands move. That's how he won the match. Just very quick. It was like 4 minutes. Shouts to Cesaro. Really cool move. Next match was Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross versus the Kabuki Warriors for the Women's Tag Team Championship. And this was a fun, nice opening match to a WrestleMania. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross end up winning this match. I really liked Asuka's interaction with the ref. Actually thought that Asuka played a tremendous heel. Like she was dancing after she was in the ring, and the ref gets her to leave, and I think at one point she was just like, okay, I know, and just yelled at the ref. It was hilarious. And then she's dancing on the outside when Kairi Sane is on offense. It was honestly pretty entertaining, and I give a lot of respect to Asuka for making this entertaining. I thought Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Asuka, Kairi Sane, all of them had really good chemistry because they've battled each other often, and I found this, I think that each one of them kind of had their own entertaining spots. I thought Alexa was entertaining. Nikki had her wild antics of being entertaining. Eventually, Nikki Cross gets a rolling neck breaker onto Kairi Sane, and Alexa Bliss hits Twisted Bliss for the win. Again, one of the best finishing moves in all of the WWE, the Twisted Bliss. Shouts to Alexa Bliss from Columbus. And Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross end up becoming the new Women's Tag Team Champions. This was an okay match. This was a nice, fun starting match, but Kairi Sane comes out not being on the pirate ship from Raymond James Stadium. So this was always going to be a disappointment because I wanted to see Kairi Sane on a pirate ship. Tampa Bay Buccaneers do something with Kairi Sane. That's all I'm saying. Then Baron Corbin comes out and he talks about how Elias isn't ready to compete because of 2 weeks ago when he attacked Elias. We didn't really know what was going to happen, and there was rumors that Dominik Dijakovic was going to be in a WrestleMania match, and this seemed like a logical spot. I actually had Elias winning this if he was going to wrestle, and we hear the guitar strum, and Elias comes out. Corbin goes to attack Elias before the match starts, and Elias hits him with the guitar. This was a okay 9-minute match or so. Some okay spots. I like that Corbin kind of utilizes, and I think is pretty decent without the crowd, because he's always yelling and he's always just kind of shit talking. So I think that Corbin was very useful in that sense. Corbin attempts for a pin on Elias, and Elias gets his foot on the rope as Corbin argues with the ref. Elias rolls him up. The roll up is the greatest move statistically of all time in the WWE, and Elias gets the win over Baron Corbin. And the next match is where it gets odd. Becky versus Shayna. Becky Lynch, Shayna Baszler. Shayna comes out to a regular entrance, and Becky comes out in the truck, and I think Kenny McIntosh had said this on Twitter, that just imagine the actual entrance Becky would have gotten. She looked great, and imagine her coming out to that gigantic truck, coming out to the stage off the truck. It would have been glorious. It would have been phenomenal to see this. So and it's going to be a repeating theme throughout WrestleMania. It's just like, imagine the crowd, or imagine if this was at the stadium. And of course, they could just do with what they had, but God, that would have been an awesome entrance. And this match was odd to me. Really good physicality throughout this match, but it ended pretty abruptly. It wasn't that long. It was like 8 minutes long, and I came in. I'm the biggest Becky Lynch fan, and I thought, hey, Becky Lynch should lose this match. She's become so cocky, and she's become so kind of arrogant, and just probably thinks that she is above the rest of the women's roster. She's still a babyface, but she's just got this cockiness, and it probably would make sense to her character and be more interesting for her character to be knocked down a peg or two and to have to be humbled. And Shayna Baszler was a perfect wrestler to be humbled. She just dominated everyone in the Elimination Chamber match. This was perfect for her to come out and to actually humble Becky Lynch. The only time that we've seen Becky humble recently is her match against Asuka at the Royal Rumble. And maybe we're heading towards Asuka versus Becky Lynch instead of Shayna Baszler with the title, because about 8 or 9 minutes into this match, Shayna Baszler finally gets her submission. After she continuously is trying to get the submission, Becky keeps getting out. Becky gets to the ropes. And Shayna isn't weak in this match, but she finally gets to the clutch, and Becky just kind of rolls her on her back, and 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Becky Lynch retains. I'm so happy that Becky won, and I was ready to get my tears in when she lost, and she didn't, and it's a bit confusing. So I don't know what's going on with the women's division and the women's championship right now with Becky Lynch. I'm guessing it's going to be Becky versus Asuka, but I really don't know what they're doing with Shayna Baszler now. And honestly, at this point in the show, it hasn't really felt all that WrestleMania-y. I mean, to be fair, no crowd, all this stuff going on, nothing feels like WrestleMania. But it just didn't feel like it was any different to another pay-per-view. And then I think most wrestling fans are wildly excited for this match. Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. There's no need to overbook this match at all. It is just give us 20 to 30 phenomenal minutes of great wrestling. And I actually think that this match was really fun, and we got some hard-hitting action. Sami was continuously running from Daniel Bryan and trying to escape actually having to fight Bryan, but eventually Bryan gets a hold of him and he begins to dominate Sami Zayn. This match had a ton of physicality when Daniel actually got his hands on Sami, and he beat the brakes off Sami. And I thought that this was great. It was actually a strong style, stiff type match, and I thought that we were going to get this for a long time. And if we would have gotten this for a long time, I think that this would have went to be a phenomenal match. But that wasn't the case, as Daniel Bryan does a suicide dive out to the outside of the ring on Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro goes to the top and haluva kick from Sami Zayn, and he pins him. I mean, Sami technically, kind of won clean and everything, but I mean, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I kind of want to see Sami back as a face. I know that he does great as a heel, and he is a fine heel, and he's great on his promos and everything. But this whole Sami kind of running away, he doesn't know how to fight, or he's too scared to fight, is a little just not believable for me as Sami. I think that Sami is just the guy that, yes, he's not the strongest, but he'll fight to the end. I would like to maybe see, and it doesn't have to necessarily be Bryan if Bryan's taking time off, but somebody, if it's Drew Gulak, whoever, kind of just starts to fight Sami. Or even if, we probably shouldn't have KO versus Sami at this moment again, but just someone that brings that fight back out in Sami. I want to see the fight back out in Sami. But I gotta question the booking here of just 9 minutes. 9 minutes for Sami Zayn versus Daniel Bryan. You didn't need to overbook this, and this WrestleMania is very short, obviously because we're getting 2 days, but it's less than 3 hours, and I think that everyone would have been okay with 3 hours and 10 minutes, 3 hours and 15 minutes. I think the show was over by like 10 o'clock for me. And again, I think at this point, it's still just feeling like something's really lacking at WrestleMania. I feel like just everything has just kind of felt rushed, and it felt like almost WWE was just going, okay, yep, we're still doing WrestleMania. All right, we're just going to do the best we can, and out. And scene. That was until the next match. It's the SmackDown Tag Team Championship match, and The Miz is not participating, and we didn't know if Morrison was going to get another partner or so until a few hours before WrestleMania. We are told that it's going to be a triple threat match with each wrestler representing the team. So Kofi Kingston representing New Day, Jimmy Uso representing the Usos, and John Morrison representing Morrison and Miz. I am a massive Jimmy Uso fan. I think that Jimmy Uso could have a crazy singles run. Obviously, we saw what Kofi could do as a singles wrestler. He is phenomenal, and Morrison can be a phenomenal singles wrestler, as we all know from, his time in WWE, but his time in TNA and his time in Lucha and just everywhere in the world. These are phenomenal wrestlers in their own right, and a part of me was kind of happy that they all got to show how good they are. I think that WWE made the right decision in these three guys. This personally, like, if you know me, this is a John match. This is just, when I would play WWE, this would be the match that I would put, but I would have the world title as these are my main event guys. I've always been just kind of more of the mid-card, I guess, type guy. My favorite wrestler is Jeff Hardy. I love the tag team match, tag team wrestling is my favorite. Ladder matches are my favorite. So you're doing like tag team style or triple threat wrestling, ladder matches. This is, yeah, you sold me. You sold me right here, and I was fully hooked. And they brought it. Immediately, they get down to business, and almost immediately, they go and get the ladders, and this starts to be an extremely entertaining match. At one point, Kofi goes between the ladder, and Jimmy and John catch him, and they throw him over the top, and Jimmy goes for a fist bump to John Morrison, and John weirdly obliges. Not smart, John, because he's going to kick you, and guess what? He kicked you. A great spot in this match was... Jimmy is on the ladder, and it's near. I mean, the top rope is right here. The turnbuckle, I suppose, is right here, and Jimmy's right here. There's not much room, and John Morrison hits the Starship Pain in that little amount of room. That I don't. Physics, does that work? I would like to talk to a scientist. Was that possible? Another point is Kofi is on the top rope while Morrison is on the ladder, and he ends up hitting a Hurricane Rana onto Morrison. Just another great move, and this match is just, it's everything I need. It wasn't over there. Morrison walks the ropes, walks the tightrope, and then Kofi gets to him, and they do a Spanish fly. I mean, just, again, this is just, for me, just reenact me. I'm just loving this. I have heart eyes. Loving everything that's happening. And they all three eventually get on top of the ladder, on top of ladders, and they all get to the belt and they pull it down. And the tag team championships are, in some point, all being held by all three wrestlers. So, who wins? I think this moment really would have been one of the ones that would have been extremely beneficial to have a crowd here, just with the confusion that's going on. And then Jimmy and Kofi hit John off the ladder, and John falls with the titles. And technically, John Morrison won. And he and now The Miz are still the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. And I don't know about you guys, but I think that WWE has now conditioned me to just see ladders and now think WrestleMania. And for this type of match, it actually felt like a WrestleMania type match. Next match here is Owens versus Rollins, and I am again hyped because we just got a phenomenal match, and hopefully we're getting another phenomenal match. Seth Rollins comes out in a Jesus-like garb, wearing the all white, and you know when Seth wears the all white, it's going to be a classic. If Twitter is a consensus, Seth, congratulations on the Sexiest Man of the Year award, because my timeline was very positive towards Seth. I'll just say that. So shout outs to you, Seth. I can't hate, man. I think that this match was terrific. Seth played the perfect heel. Owens played a perfect badass babyface. They were talking shit to each other the entire time. Seth very much had this I am a god Kanye-like mindset throughout the match, which is terrific. The Monday Night Messiah character is great. Seth should be a heel. Like this... No matter if you have this for the IC title, you have this for the US title, you have this for the world title, this is the type of role that both wrestlers should be playing. And I think that you could actually have a long-term storyline for a world title with these two guys. And it's going great before Seth hits KO with the ring bell. And it goes to disqualification. And I'm not saying I was heated, but smoke was coming out of my ears at this point because you're getting this great stuff and then just ruining it with the end. But they duped me. It was all for the funnies because Kevin Owens takes to the mic and says, Seth, if you're a god, this is an act of a god. This is an act of a bitch. This isn't the way that this should end. Come back and fight me in a no DQ. And Seth obliges, and thank God he does. Because we get actual ring bells, and we get steel chairs, and then we get Kevin Owens on top of the WrestleMania logo and does a flying elbow drop off of it to a poor little Seth on the announce table as the announce table explodes. And it was a great moment. The only thing that could have made it better would have been, and immediately in my mind I go, I bet Kevin thought that he was going to do this off of the pirate ship at WrestleMania at the Raymond James Stadium, And then he tweets hours later that that was the idea and that he had taken pictures of the ship and that he was making sure that he could do this and that that was the plan. It sucks that that didn't happen, but it was still a phenomenal match. Great job by these guys. KO eventually gets Seth back into the ring. Seth pleads for him not to do this. Hits the stunner. 1, 2, 3. Kevin Owens wins. And Kevin Owens needed to win this match, just the way that he was ran down by Seth and saying that he didn't have the big WrestleMania moment. He couldn't really do this. This was the right decision here, and hats off to them. Now we are feeling like it is WrestleMania. It just kind of felt like we weren't getting into second or third gear, and now we're all the way. We are going. And imagine, again, I'm going to keep saying this, but imagine this match with a crowd. With a crowd, I think that we would legitimately be talking about the triple threat ladder match and this match being classics with a crowd. And the next match I am a bit confused on because it is the Universal Championship match, and at this point I am going, why is this going on second to last? Because Taker and AJ are going to be the final match, the main event of night one in a Boneyard match? I didn't understand it. I felt as though the Universal title should go on last. I'll get to why I was wrong in a second, but at this point that was my mind's thinking. And this match is very quick. Goldberg hits his few spears, Braun kicks out, Braun hits his power slams, and Goldberg doesn't kick out. And Braun is the new WWE Universal Champion, and it was the right decision. Happy to see Braun get his moment. Was there moments where I really wish that it was someone like Jeff Hardy? Yes. But I think that Braun has done a lot and not gotten the world title run. Should this have happened months ago? Should this happen like a year ago? Yeah, Braun should have been having his big moment probably over a year ago that he really earned this title. But eventually he does get this title. Braun has done the work to earn this, so I'm happy for Braun. Last match. Beautiful, I think, is a great word to describe this. Perfect. Bizarre. Brilliant. Breathtaking. AJ Styles versus The Undertaker. I'm gonna be honest, I kind of had low expectations to what this was going to be. But in my video prior, I talked about how WrestleMania should have been controlled by Bray, by The Fiend. It's wacky. This should be a movie. This should be a Netflix special. And this should be a horror-like film. And we kind of got something like that. We get AJ Styles coming out of a hearse, coming out of the casket as Gallows and Anderson opens it up. It reveals AJ Styles in bootcut jeans. Exactly what everyone wants. I was begging that Undertaker was coming out to the cemetery in a motorcycle, bumping Limp Bizkit, and I got 2 of the 3. I'll take it. I'm probably the only one that actually wanted Limp Bizkit instead of Metallica playing, but that's what I wanted. Taker comes to the cemetery, and AJ immediately just starts to go with the roast right here, and for me, it's not working. I actually kind of found AJ a little annoying right here, of just being like, did Michelle let you out? Like, yeah. AJ has 2 jokes. AJ is we all know that guy that has 2 jokes and thinks that he is hilarious with them. The "you're old" and "did Michelle let you out?" which is also just kind of a "you're old" joke. But Taker just basically gets to, yeah, bandana, Sons of Anarchy time, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. And he does. The sound effects, the wackiness of this match is everything that I was hoping for. I immediately tweeted, I apologize for ever thinking that this match should not be going on last. This is the main event. Taker starts basically doing his best Steven Seagal impression and is beating the living hell out of AJ. Gallows and Anderson gets involved, and of course, in every Steven Seagal, Sylvester Stallone, whatever, Arnold Schwarzenegger, whatever movie that you want to basically make this, Undertaker sends them back. There are these druids that come in. Undertaker's beating up everyone. I completely understand when people are saying this is dumb, this is stupid, why is this happening? You realize that this is a B level movie. Yes, 100%, and it was fun. And sometimes you're just hoping to be entertained. And especially during what's happening right now in the world, I needed something to be entertained by. And this was perfect. Again, we're talking about a show that has Owens versus Rollins on it. That's phenomenal. We're talking about a show that has Kofi versus Jimmy versus John on it. That is phenomenal. And those matches deserve to probably be said as match of the nights. But if you're saying this is match of the night, I can't argue. There's one point where it looks as though AJ has defeated Taker. The bandana's off. Taker's winded. He's sitting at a tree. He's bleeding from his arm where he put it through the hearse. And it looks like it's over. It actually kind of looked a little bit like the scene in Wolverine. Probably the best moment of the night is where AJ gets Taker in the grave. And he gets to the grave, the gigantic mower type thing that lays all of the dirt into the grave. And we get boss level music. We get the final boss music. And Undertaker is all of a sudden behind him, where it looks like he is an angel. And he commits murder towards AJ Styles after he had already committed 2 murders, throwing Gallows and Anderson off of the barn. He gives AJ Styles the last ride, murders him. He then gets AJ to the grave. And AJ pleads, "Don't bury me." And Taker's just like, "Nah, man, I'm not going to. Good job. You beat me up. Really proud of you." And then he kicks him to the grave. And yeah, and then we get an AJ Styles hand just poking out of all of the dirt as he is buried. And Taker gets on his motorcycle. We get the barn on fire. And then the Undertaker symbol in lights. And he rides off in his motorcycle as Metallica plays. And he rides off into victory. Oscar is next, right? The Oscar? The only 2 Oscars that I am expecting to be voting for this year is Undertaker versus AJ Styles and hopefully Bray versus Cena, because I'm hoping that we get an insane Firefly Funhouse match. Please, WWE, let Bray be as creative as possible here. It is a little sad that we never got to really see Matt do this stuff, because Matt is the dude behind all of this, really. He is the genius here. The broken gimmick is truly genius. And for the people that don't like it, like I don't know what to tell you. It's entertaining, it's fun. I get that it's stupid, I get that it's wacky, I get that it's hacky, I get that it's sacky, right? But it's fun. And I loved it. Yeah, it took a lot in the first few or 4 or 5 matches for this to really start to get going, but then they were really hitting their strides. And good job, WWE. I was entertained. I think that lastly, through all this time, I don't know if it's right to be showing WrestleMania. I don't know if it's right to be doing this, because on one hand, you're entertaining the people and you're giving them something to talk about, and you're giving them a moment of escape that we can all use right now through this time. And on the other hand, you're likely risking some of the wrestlers' health. I mean, anytime we're watching wrestling, we're watching people risk their health and their lives. But this is on an even bigger scale with the virus. I don't know if it's right or wrong or whatever, but I think the point was to escape. And if you didn't escape, I don't think this show did its job. But if you did, then I think it did its job. Thank you guys for watching. Deuce.